Hey, I'm Tim Pierce, and I'm standing in the sound design studio of Line 6 in Calabasas, California. I'm here to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Line 6 releasing the Helix to the world. Oh, hey, Sam. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Tim.
These guys are part of the sound design team, and they have work to do. So let's get down the road, because I want to show you something. Now, wait for it. Wait for it. It's one of my favorite things. So what we're about to see is just a small part of the Line 6 amp archives. A lot of these amps have been used to create amp models for Line 6 devices going back like 20 years. So many of my favorites, the Marshalls, the Park, the Hiwatt, the Orange. That Soldano is really special to me because I got one from Mike Soldano. I got a very early one. And Joe Bonamassa sent me the sheet that has me on it with some pretty great guitar players. I'm very grateful for that. I used that a lot and it was life-changing. Anyway, all the Fenders, as you can see, and especially this Fender Deluxe. It's a 65 Deluxe, one of the most iconic amps in history and a great recording amp. So I'm getting a signal that we're running a little late, so we got to move. Kind of don't know what to expect. They've been so tight-lipped about this whole thing. Pretty exciting. I remember the days when I used to take my pod to sessions. There's a couple of presets on that actually sound pretty good still. Okay, here we go. 10th anniversary. Let's dive in. Welcome to the 10th anniversary of the Line 6 Helix. I want to thank all of you for coming from around the country and around the world to fill this room and be part of this live stream. So I'm going to get us rolling by introducing the president of the Yamaha Guitar Group, Joe Bentavania. Yay, Joe!
Let's hear it for Tim. Thank you, Tim. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Yamaha Guitar Group and beautiful Calabasas. This morning it was all foggy, and today, now it's all beautiful. It's just a great place to live. I want to start by just saying thank you to our special guests, our partners, and everybody at Line 6, as well as what I'm told is more than 1,000 people watching the live stream right now. And I'm sure that number's going higher. So thanks very much, and let's get started. We're going to have a really great day. I also want to thank you for giving up your time to be here at this special event. So the special event, I'd like to set some context to tell you why we're here. We know really the first reason why we're here, and it's to celebrate 10 years of Helix. I've been here 17 years. It's really hard to believe that it's been 10 years, and it's been a great accomplishment. The second thing is that we're here to celebrate our customers. The people who believe in us, they believe in our vision, and they believe in our future. I can stand here before you and tell you we wouldn't be here without you, so thank you. So I want to get things started, but I first want to say thank you to Helix Nation, okay? I'll be here all afternoon. I'd like to meet as many of you as possible. And now I'd like to turn it over to Steve Bartkowski, our Vice President of Products and Operations. It's great to see everybody. I can't wait to mingle after the event. Have a great day.
Thank you. I'm not gonna lie, there is a lot more people in this room than during the sound check. So I'm doing a little bit of mental calculation, like will I be less nervous thinking about all the eyeballs here looking at me or all the eyeballs online? I'll keep thinking about it and let you know here somewhere in the middle of my presentation. So I started at Line 6 12 years ago, and it was really, really, really special at the time to be a part of a company that lived in that intersection of innovation and music creation. All the teams here just fanatically looking for progressive and new ways to make that creative process simpler, easier, quicker, more accessible to musicians of all stages and all levels. It was such an easy mission to latch onto and to mobilize around. Strive to inspire the creators that never cease to inspire us back. In those early days, and to some degree, maybe even a little bit now, I was not nearly as cool enough to hang with the uber smart people that were upstairs dreaming what those new products and those new solutions might look like. Little did I know in those first days and weeks, there was already this project that was in the works. It was called HD 1000. Its objective was to achieve the apex of what could be done in the digital amp and effect modeling space at the time. And it was a little bit of a side mission to deliver the most intuitive user interface in a product in our space. And on June 11th, 2015, that product was announced to the world as Helix. Yeah. This is a clap encouraged zone. This is a party, so clap freely. Now, 19 product updates later, 90 some additional amps, over 220 new effects, countless new elements added to improve both feature and function. We're thrilled to arrive at this moment today to celebrate the fact that 10 years later, Helix still embodies that original intent to inspire sound and to inspire tone creation at the speed of thought.
When the team at Line 6 designed Helix, they knew it had to be three different things. It had to sound and feel real, it had to be smart and easy to use, and it had to be able to control other pieces of gear, acting as a centerpiece for any guitar rig.
I've got this feeling of grievance. She said that she don't believe it. I'm going home. Yeah, I'm going home.
The goal was to give the guitarist complete control of everything between their fingertips to their ears.
I didn't even know that technology was available where you could just, like, with, you know, that's crazy.
This is killer, man. No, it's inspiring. You know, when you find sounds like that.
The effects section of this just looks brilliant.
This is how we get the tones that make people go, yes, that's a tone.
This is something you can't do in a pedal board that you can do with maybe your rack or a live setup that you can't usually sit in front of your amp and hear that.
Be able to do that with your foot? Oh, that's f***ing awesome.
Wow, that sounds really accurate too. Holy crap.
That's cool. It's the sound that you start a record with.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, it's really my jam. I've been looking so long for something like this. Just gonna get all teary-eyed.
Now, as Joe mentioned, there's another guest of honor at this shindig, and you all were all over that video. Even before we had shipped a single unit of Helix back in 2015, it was evident that there was this special relationship forming with a growing community. You all let us know what you wanted, what you didn't want, what we were doing right, where you thought we were just missing the boat. And now, millions of posts later, thousands of video clips, dozens and dozens of user groups that we know about, we get to say thank you to all of you. Your passion for Helix and the communities that have sprung from that passion inspire us to be better. They inspire us to do more. You're a key part of where we've arrived at, and you'll be a key part of where we go next. Every one of the comments, the requests for new features, detailed explanations of what we need to do better in order to gain more universal adoption of Helix, they're fixated on, they're consumed, they're read. We just breathe and live off them. And in Eric's case, probably a little unhealthily, a little bit obsessively, but there'll be more time for that later. Look, in person today, we have representatives of many hundreds of thousands of Helix users out there right here in Calabasas with us. Before we get on with the main event, don't throw anything at your screens at home. There will be a main event, and it won't be me. But I just want to recognize some of those groups and say thank you. I want to start with the network of dealers and channel partners across the world who've nurtured and supported Helix from the very beginning, from day one. Here in person, we have representatives from Guitar Center, we have representatives from Sweetwater, we have representatives from American Musical Supply, we have guests that got on planes and traveled many, many, many thousands of miles. Our international dealer and distributor community, Yamaha Canada, Yamaha Music Australia, Yamaha Music Japan, even the Ishibashi team from Tokyo, all here in person to help celebrate with us. For everybody here and the thousands of dealers out there, thank you for all you've done to support our Helix community all these years. To the artist community who trust and rely on Helix for the music that is made on records and stages all over the world, getting to see and hear the creative output that you're able to achieve, knowing that Helix played a role in that, honestly, it's what makes this a dream job for so many of us here. Thank you all. I want to recognize a special group of content creators, of advocates, teachers, just overall product gurus. You passionately utilize your expertise. You translate that into instructional videos, into presets and product content available on our Custom Tone and Line 6 marketplaces. All other supplemental content just orbiting Helix. By doing what you do and being present in the community, you make Helix a more accessible product from the very first day of a user's engagement. We're so happy that there's so many of you here today and joining online to help us celebrate. Thank you. Last, finally, that's my cue that I'm wrapping my bit up here. Certainly not least, I want to recognize the community. All the user groups up there that have sprung up around the Helix and HX system of products. They represent hundreds of thousands of active and engaged users across the world. Now more than ever, it's just cool that there are places on the internet and social media where people are united together, helping and encouraging each other, ultimately just incentivizing each other to play more, to create more, and to share back. And to acknowledge just a small amount of them, the Helix Discord, Helix subreddit, both administered and moderated by our own Igor Storlasky. The gear page, yeah, it's okay. The gear page, the gear forum, 7string.org, the fretboard.co.uk, talkbase.com, HX Stomp, Praise and Worship Group, the Line 6 MIDI Mad Scientist Club, the Line 6 Helix Polska Group in Poland, the Line 6 Utenti in Italy, the Line 6 Helix Group Deutsch, Helix for Bassists. I think Tony Smith is here in person with us. Yeah. The Line 6 Helix HX Metal, Line 6 HX Club on Instagram. And last, but certainly not least, I want to recognize you can clap, that's okay, I'll talk over it. The official and original Helix Family User Group on Facebook. They were among the very first to establish in 2015. Over 45,000 users later, they exemplify the notion and idea of community, consistently welcoming in new users, answering questions, providing an invaluable connection point between all of us here at Line 6 and all of you throughout the world. I want to acknowledge Chad Boston, Chris, Chris Saraga. They're here with us today. It would not be a party without you. Here's fun trivia. This is a photo back in 2015. One of the first days that Helix was in the wild. This is all of us upstairs in Line 6, and we're watching one of the very first live streams that was put on that user group. It's one of my favorite pictures and representation of the work that all of you do out there and the connection to the work that we do here. We love it, genuinely love it. To all the user groups out there, thank you for being passionate, thank you for being supportive, and generally just awesome. That was 2015, and today, the cool thing is we're kind of doing the same thing. We're just all here in the same place at the same time. We have many of our products, development, sales, marketing, Line 6 people here in from multiple continents across the world. Some of them, like Frank, like Ben, like Igor, they're well known to you here and watching at home. And some of them just quietly and methodically just go about their business and keep pushing Helix forward. It's just so cool that we're doing this together. And one last person that I didn't mention, and as luck would have it, I get to pass the mic over to him now. I made a joke a little bit ago about Eric being unhealthily, obsessively fixated on everything. It's not a joke. There are so many people, past and present at Line 6, that have put their fingerprints on Helix over the years, but Eric has put enough of them to make a painting. He's a relentless champion for user experience. He's a relentless champion for the community and you all. He's been a North Star for where Helix has come today and where it should go next. Please join me welcoming to the stage our Chief Product Design Architect, Mr. Eric Klein.
Holy cow! No, stop! No, stop it. I'm gonna do really, I'm gonna try really hard to not hit the back button. I did that through rehearsal, I don't know how many different times. Hi, everybody. So 10 years ago, there was no live stream. We didn't have all of our friends here. It was all Line 6 employees. And I was sitting right about there, I think. And Marcus Ryle, one of our co-founders, he came up and he made this really rousing and inspirational speech. He's always been really amazing at that. And it's amazing, and it's so well thought out, and all of us are sitting there just refreshing our phones over and over again, because at the same time it was going public, and we wanted to gauge the first public reaction. So Marcus, if you're watching, we were listening, I promise, but we were also on our phones. So 10 years later, to the hour, and Steve's taken my phone. So here we go. Bring on the next 10 years. So this is a lot of to-do over a guitar processor. It's very embarrassing. We just make gear and talk about it online way too much. So this is clearly not a traditional product launch for us. Normally we would be at the NAMM show. We'd probably have some big band there. We'd have it catered. We'd have beer and that sort of stuff. And we'd fill the convention hall. But it didn't really it didn't make sense. So there are a few reasons why we're doing this early. Number one, the longer we waited, the greater chance it would leak. And somebody dropped prices early this morning, and people are already talking about it. But number two, I love y'all, but you wouldn't shut up about it. Number three, and most importantly, we always knew we wanted to do something for Helix's 10-year anniversary. We didn't know what it was going to be, but June 11th lands right between NAMMs. So, all right, what are we going to do? But the June 11th date was just kind of too great of an opportunity to miss. As Steve mentioned, all of you here and a bunch of you watching from home or on tour in studios or wherever, you've all been very integral to the success of Helix. And kind of unbeknownst to you all, you've also been mission critical and integral to the next platform as well. So it kind of made sense to have all of you be a part of the announcement. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to actually throw a party here at home. I mean, who needs a massive rock show in a convention center when you have PowerPoint, right? Okay, so important disclaimer. We're going to be showing some of what's to come, probably right on the cusp of what we're comfortable divulging. Some of the stuff we're going to talk about, some of the stuff you're going to see won't be in 1.0. It may not be in 1.1. I had to Photoshop a bunch of stuff at the last second, like, oh crap, we can't show that yet. So don't look too closely. Just know that in the coming weeks and months, we're going to have a lot more to share, so just be patient. All right. Here we go. So despite the video you just saw, we're actually not showing a new flagship today. We are showing two new flagships. Helix Stadium and Helix Stadium floor, Helix Stadium XL floor. So with what we now call OG Helix starting right now, we didn't know we were going to end up with a platform at all. Steve talked about this. We thought it was going to be a 3-4 year in and out kind of thing, and much less that we'd be supporting it and updating it tirelessly for 10 plus years, including major back-end overhauls, Helix core improved oversampling, all new cab engine from scratch, a ton of other major and minor improvements, some of which we talk about, some of which we don't. Not to mention amp and effect modeling that gets better over years. Yes, so we'd like to say that Helix doesn't get older, it matures. So conversely, Helix Stadium's all-new modular platform has been specifically architected from the very beginning to be extensible and updated for a long, long time, which is very different from what we've ever done before. So even today, Helix floors, noise, and dynamic range specs are not only best in this space, they're actually better than a lot of multi-$1,000 audio interfaces. So Helix Stadium improves upon this with our patented high dynamic range circuits on all analog inputs, not just one guitar in, resulting in up to 126 dB on the instrument ins, 120 dB on the effects returns and augs in, and 128 dB on the mic in. The mic's preamp also sounds better and has more gain. We've redesigned the headphone output so it's much more forgiving for a much wider variety of headphones, so it sounds great on all headphones. And the whole thing has noticeably more headroom. So that means that your existing Helix and HX presets could sound better without any tweaking at all. We also have more DSP, obviously, a dedicated GPU, machine learning accelerator, FPGAs, and it's all running on a brand new from the ground up floating point architecture. Stadium and Stadium XL are actually quite similar on the ins and outs front, besides the obvious treadle and high contrast OLED scribble strips, which are better than Helix's screens. Helix Stadium adds 1 extra instrument input, 2 extra effects loops, and 1 extra dual control jack. Other than that, the I/O is identical. They both have mic preamps. They both have SPDIF, USB-C, and USB-A ports, a removable 32 gig micro SD card, and a Burley internal power supply. And all of this I/O fits into chassis that are notably smaller than Helix or Helix LT. Stadium XL's footprint is 25% smaller than Helix floor. Stadium is 42% smaller. And on the weight front, Helix Stadium XL, even though it has a ton more hardware packed inside, it's 21% lighter, and Stadium is just over half the weight. So this new platform that we built isn't just for more stuff. It was mission critical for us to help deliver the single biggest leap Line 6 has made in our near 30 years of modeling amps, and we call this Agora. Agora was the street you all drove in on today. If you remember on Google Maps, it turn on Agora, right? It was also the street that our previous building was on, so it sort of represents home for us. It represents living here in Southern California, so we thought it was appropriate. But it's important to understand, Agora is not HX on steroids. It is an entirely new subcomponent behavioral architecture and modeling methodology. There's all new tube emulation where we actually measure detailed parameters of the actual real tubes modeled in that particular amp, voltages, currents, capacitance, and more. We've invented a new way of modeling power stages, both push-pull and single-ended, in conjunction with the power supply, so we can capture the detailed dynamic interaction between the signal and power supply, which makes the transient response more realistic, so how it actually responds under your fingers and pick. Agora also models circuit feedback more accurately than has been possible before. Not only each instrument's ideal characteristics and behavior, but the real-world nuances too, because they don't always sound or behave the same, right? Even things like capacitance between runs of wiring in the chassis are accounted for. There's also detailed plate and grid voltage data, all new sag, bias, ripple behavior emulation, double precision tone stacks, interblock communication, so cab blocks can talk back to the amp block for dynamic speaker impedance curves, even when effects are between them, and a lot more. If you name it, if it makes the smallest impact to responsiveness, not necessarily even things you can hear, we captured it. To start out, we're starting with 16 Agora guitar amps and 6 Agora bass amps, but we'll continue to add a bunch more through firmware updates. The trick is that real amps aren't perfect. They have all sorts of imperfections and artifacts that may not be pleasing to the ear. So you have, and I'm sure you guys have, by show of hands, who's actually played a 6869 Plexi dimed without earplugs? It's wild. Everybody knows what a Plexi sounds like, have actually played in front of one. So that's kind of why Line 6 original amps like Ventu and Elmsley have been so popular, because they represent unique, idealized amps that in some cases couldn't exist in the real world. All Agora amps have a hype knob. So depending on the amp and amp parameters, increasing hype subtly or dramatically, it adjusts a bunch of behind-the-scenes parameters to maybe make the amp sound a bit smoother, fuller, punchier, and or more forgiving, but at the expense of accuracy. So if you're really familiar with a particular amp, then leave it off. You might hate it. But if you're not familiar with that amp, or you're familiar with it on records, or you think it might sound a particular way, maybe turn it up a bit, and you may find that the sound in your head is easier to achieve with fewer additional processing blocks. Okay, I don't know who's old school here. This was a Line 6 print ad from late 97, 98. And what's crazy is Dolly the sheep, the first cloned sheep, was born in 96, so our marketing team was on point, right? In addition to Agora, early next year, we're introducing our own bespoke amp, cab, effect, and signal chain cloning engine we call Proxy. So hold on. So we fully understand that open source solutions are doing amazing things in this space, and jury's still out on whether Helix Stadium goes there or not, but we wanted to do something unique and interesting. So Proxy is unique in that its core architecture and capabilities are designed to expand beyond amp and effect capture, maybe things that aren't even audio. It also sends training data wirelessly to the cloud, no computer necessary, which means you can train better models due to the power of cloud server processing. And while the servers are crunching numbers, you can keep making music. You don't have to wait for it. As soon as your clone appears in the model list, Stadium lets you know. It also lets us improve the cloning technology independent of not only what firmware you happen to be on, but what hardware you own. Let's talk about UI UX real quick. So the floor multi-effects market looked and operated very differently before Helix. No big color screens, no scribble strips, no RGB LEDs, no massive cluster of I/O, everything hiding in menus, imitation, flattery. We've all seen the meme, right? The point is because of the hundreds of thousands of users familiar with Helix and how it operates, we wanted to maintain muscle memory, but we wanted to improve as much as we possibly could. You'll notice that we've doubled down on real tactile controls. Helix Stadium adds 2 extra push encoders and 5 extra dedicated push buttons, so you don't have to do the tap, tap, swipe, swipe, back, 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 close, close thing that you get. You can choose to use tactile controls or the touchscreen or both, however you're accustomed to working. And just like Helix, touch any stomp and it instantly jumps to whatever assigned blocks, controllers as foot switches or commands instantly. So how do you take UI, UX, and functionality that artists, producers, and engineers have used day in and day out for a decade and make it easier, faster, and more enjoyable? And the answer is tricky because Helix doesn't have just one type of customer. So if you're a new user, either to multi-effects in general, or even like you just haven't played Guitar Gear at all, every single parameter tells you what it does. Here's the global parameters, your amp parameters, your cab or effect parameters, just by tapping it. So not everybody needs to know what gain does on an amp. You should know what that means. But even experts might need a refresher on what steps or boomerang do in our crazy tessellator delay. So instead of having to go dig through a parameter guide online, we built it into Helix Stadium. Assigning controllers now takes 2 seconds instead of 3, and you don't even have to dig into any menus to access all of your min and max. It's just right there. As we grow this list of amps, cabs, effects, and other stuff over the coming years, the search function in the model list makes it really easy to find what you want. You can type in the real amp and pedal name, and the model list will call up all the items, even across different categories. Searching presets works the same way. If you tap this little camera icon down in the lower left-hand corner, this will let you see our new focus view, which kind of dives into each model and provides additional context and tools. So most amps and effects feature 5 touch zones with descriptive terms like clean, tight, dirty, squishy. Sometimes they get a little clever or whatever. Just slide your finger around the field until it sounds close to what you want, and then just tweak with the knobs. So if you're a new user and you've never played that amp or effect before, Focus View can showcase the variety of sounds and behavior of that amp or effect and act as a great springboard for dialing in your own sounds. It even teaches you how that sound was made because the sliders adjust in real time. For power users, however, you can customize each zone's settings and name, treating them like 5 subtle or radically different variations of that amp or effect that you can then morph between with your finger. And what's cool is that Focus View stays open when you're in this mode, so when you're jumping from stomp to amp or whatever with the amp button and the switches, it stays open, so the whole experience is literally tap distortion, I want this to be a bit angrier, tap reverb, I want this to be a bit bloomier, a little less bloomier, press the amp button, okay, tighter, squishier, too squishy, perfect. So it is the absolute fastest path from getting the sound in your head into something you can actually experience. For cabs, Focus View lets you move the mic around in 3D space, which is fun. And for EQs, it lets you dial in curves. So it's contextual, it depends on the model, right? We've also provided a bunch of new contextual tools at the preset level. So all factory presets contain tips on how to best use them. For your own presets, you can freely type in helpful information like what instrument to use, what pickup was used, what was the tuning, what was your playback system, are there any creative controller assignments, what do the snapshots do, what's your favorite taco recipe, we don't care, right? And what's great is when you share these presets online, people have a much better idea of what you're trying to accomplish. But you can never have enough context. Every factory preset will also include a unique dry guitar clip that plays through the preset, created by the person who made the preset, so you can hear it in context. So you grab your, like a 7-string ESP at your local guitar emporium, you walk up to Helix Stadium, you plug it in, not realizing that it's a country chicken picking preset designed for a passive telly, and you start chugging, you're like, that's horrible. Wait a second. And you hit the little clip icon, you're like, oh wait, that actually sounds great. It was me, or it was my instrument, or my playing style, or whatever. For power users, you can record your own clips to help dial in presets without having to constantly switch between playing and editing. All right, foot switch modes have been drastically enhanced. You can use foot switch 6 to toggle between the 2 modes you use the most, and you can swap them out in like 3 seconds. There are now 2 layers of stomps, stomp A and stomp B. So if you use the control jacks for 4 additional foot switches, you can have a total of 25 stomps per preset, go ham. If you hold FS6, you get into more foot switch mode. This is where you access the additional 4 modes that aren't on FS6. But it also gives you quick access to a bunch of helpful functions like accessing the clip with your feet, accessing info with your feet, built-in stopwatch, metronome, quick save, and muting all outputs between sets. Our brand new file system lets you load thousands of IRs or create thousands of favorites and organize them into nested folders however you like. And I want my worship tutorial IRs in here. I want all my tape delay presets in here. They're all there. And remember, if you place all of your favorite amps or effects in the top level, you can access them without loading the model list at all, simply by spinning the lower knob, just like Helix. You can organize your presets into up to 126 different set lists, and changes you make to one preset will echo through any other set list that happens to exist. All new presets you make start from a list of templates, and you can make your own templates, so you don't have to make presets from scratch unless you really want to. If you are a current Helix or HX user, you don't have to recreate them manually in Helix Stadium. You'll be able to import them. So There are a couple small caveats, like we've deprecated the older hybrid cabs, so you'll want to make sure you convert everything to one of the new cabs before you move it over, but you should be up and running very quickly. Let's see, what else? The 4 stereo paths now have 12 blocks each, and while they do take up block locations, multiple splits and merges can be added to the same path. Let's see, above the big knob, we have our dedicated output buttons. They determine whether you're controlling the 1/4-inch XLR or phone's output level, or you can disable it entirely. If you press the button again, and you'll see our new flexible matrix Q mixer, and each layer is fully dependent. So you can have a completely different monitor mix for the 1/4-inch outputs to your amp, the XLR outputs to the front of house, or the phone's output to your in-ears, or the drummer, or the musical director. Each layer gets individual level, pan, mute, and solo for each of the 4 stereo paths independently, USB in 1.2, Bluetooth audio, aux in, the metronome, and all 8 stereo audio tracks. You can link 2 or all matrix layers together, and each one gets its own global EQ, whether they're linked or not. Let's talk about control for a second. So every parameter can be controlled by a local controller, like expression pedals, switches, brand new XY controller, which is you can access really quickly with a single button press. And you can map however many parameters you want to the X and Y axis. Again, 2 seconds. So you can instantly access that, or wirelessly from your phone, or whatever, eventually. But you can also control snapshots, or snapshots can be assigned to the exact same parameters, and MIDI notes or MIDI CCs can be assigned to the same parameters, so it works in sort of a last one win sort of thing. So it's not exclusive. You can have all of those control the same parameter. Our venerable command center is still here. You get your 2 layers. This is dedicated to manual control of all your external gear, obviously. So if you want to switch your preset on your external pedals, or your keyboards patch, or software keystroke, or MIDI to DMX lighting cue, you can still do that. You do get 2 commands per switch, however, and each one responds to press, release, hold, or toggle. And remember, because you have Stomp A and Stomp B, if you wanted to, you could dedicate Stomp B to nothing but commands. You still have access to all of that. We have 16 instant commands now per preset for spitting out all sorts of stuff when a preset or snapshot is recalled, a bunch of handy new utility commands, and we even have drum trigger inputs if you want to go nuts. So then your drummer could set the system tempo, start song playback, or trigger an internal loop or external drum machine. It's nuts. So this is what we're talking about, the manual control that we've all sort of been comfortable with if you've used Command Center. However, I want to ask a kind of a dumb, weird question of the audience. So on a multi-effect, in a perfect world, what's the ideal number of foot switches? Just one more? Yeah. Sir? 12. Oh, see, now you're just a suck up. All right, so we believe there's an objectively correct answer to this, and it's 0. Because, remember, perfect world, you win the lottery, and you call your weird neighbor Al, who was a roadie in the 90s, and he brings his buddies over, and they run your rig for you. You don't have to do anything. You just get to play and have fun. That's the dream, right? So that brings us to our Showcase automation engine. With Showcase, Helix Stadium is set to control your entire stage automatically. It's like having a guitar tech, bass tech, keyboard tech, playback tech, maybe even a lighting/video tech at your beck and call. If you just want to jam along with your favorite 20 or 50 or 500 songs, load them into Helix Stadium and then use the transport foot switch mode to recall them. That's real easy. And if you save the song, it recalls the preset. So you don't even have to go hunting for the preset if you want to jam along with your favorite song. And if that's all you care about, great. Next step might be, when you're loading in tracks, you ask the Helix Stadium app to split the song into stems, so then you can mute the guitar or bass part, or turn it down by 12 dB. So now what you're doing is you're not playing on top of your favorite songs, you're mixed into your favorite songs. And that means that your presets now suddenly sound better because they're done within a band context. So that sort of disparity between how it sounds when you play alone versus how it sounds in band practice can then go away. But songs aren't static. So like Igor, Mr. Bungle, 12-Foot Ninja, their songs are all over the place and they're constantly changing. They always keep you on your toes. Showcase lets you easily drag flags onto the song's timeline when you want that event to take place. So now your song can switch from your verse snapshot to your chorus snapshot to your solo snapshot without hitting a single foot switch. Remember, 0 foot switches. You can also reorder sections of the song on the fly, extend solos, cycle parts of the song, and more. Then you think, well, what else can I do? Say I drag 3 looper flags onto the timeline. I have set one to record, one to stop, and another one to play. So now, during the second chorus, I'm harmonizing with what I just played in the first chorus. And then you realize, well, wait, I can load in 8 of my own stems from my own record, drag amp flags to switch my amp in real time, drag MIDI flags to control all of my external pedals, which also sync to tempo, recall patches in my keyboards and drum machines, go nuts and trigger MIDI to DMX lighting, send a play message to your laptop that's projecting to the audience or the congregation. And it all happens automatically. So it's important to understand that Showcase also works independently of tracks. You don't have to use tracks if you don't want to. You can take the markers and apply a bunch of flags there, and you can sequentially step through all of those sets of markers just like you might do from a single switch. So one switch was very, very close, my friend. But if those markers happen to be attached to a timeline, it all happens for you with no input, no tap dancing. So you can stop worrying about the technology and focus on what's important, your performance, your bandmates, and the audience. Or you could just use Showcase as a method of dialing in those tones within a band context again, because as you know, it sounds very different from environment to environment. So with Showcase, we've gone from an extremely casual playing experience, just jamming along with your favorite songs, all the way to a fully automated stage on your world tour, and you're using the exact same tools. It's not like you have to learn more as you go. It's literally dragging audio files in and choosing what events you want to have take place. So that's Showcase. All right. Nexus is Yamaha Guitar Group's all-new modular, networkable, multi-channel I/O and control protocol. So it's fairly open-ended, and it lets us expand the ins and outs and control capabilities of Helix Stadium. Although Helix Stadium, unfortunately, no longer has VDI and L6 links jacks built in, we absolutely could not abandon our PowerCab Plus and Variax users, of which I am. So the first Nexus accessory we're announcing is Expand D10. Expand D10 adds Variax, L6 link, and via 8-channel optical, you can run 8 channels to audio interfaces to expand the input count of your studio. And almost every audio interface, $500 and above, has an ADAT input, right? Or you can also run that to your digital console, or your stage box, or one of those affordable DA converters that give you XLR outputs, so you now have 10 XLR outs from Helix Stadium. Go nuts. And what's cool is that Nexus is an open-ended protocol. So even though this is the first of hopefully many accessories, we don't necessarily know all of the accessories that it could support, and you guys could tell us what type of accessories you want it to support. So we also have a new expression pedal called EX2, because Helix Stadium doesn't have an expression pedal, but if you want one, you can put it on the left side if you're a left-footed person. Other than its matching aesthetics, Goldilocks size, it's not too big, it's not too small, very lightweight, it's cast aluminum. The whole thing is true plug and play with a single TRS cable. So you don't have to worry about losing your Y adapters or anything like that. It's also true plug and play, coincidentally, with HX Stomp XL, PodGo, and Pod Express. And of course, when you're on your world tour, you're going to need something to carry it all in. Helix backpack. Helix Stadium backpack, sorry. So our industrial design guru, Dale, designed this completely in-house. We did not slap our name on some OEM bag. It was designed in-house specifically for the needs of the touring and traveling musician. So it's comfortable to wear, highly water and impact resistant. It's actually a roll top to keep your stuff waterproof-ish. Has USB pass-through for a phone battery, secret compartments for tracking chips. So if somebody steals your Helix Stadium, you can go beat them up. A ton of room for EX2, Expand D10, cables, music, books, tuna sandwiches, whatever. So we haven't gotten into, man, there's so much to talk about. We didn't have time. We haven't gotten into like built-in multi-client Wi-Fi, wireless editing, automatic wireless updates, Bluetooth, new strobe tuner, side chaining compressors and gates, and all the cool other cloud stuff. And there's a bunch of other big things that we just can't talk about just yet. So, million-dollar questions. When and how much? So, it shouldn't be any surprise to anybody, but these are coming above Helix and Helix LT. Helix Stadium processors start at $1799. Beginning on June 25th, you can reserve your Helix Stadium online or in stores. So, also note that we are not done with OG Helix. They're not going anywhere, and we still have plans for them. We're keeping them in the market at new, lower prices. Helix Floor will now be $12.99. Helix Rack will be $13.99, and Helix LT is down to $8.99. So there is still a lot of work for us to do. I'm not looking forward to tomorrow's meetings. And there's also a lot of information coming to all of you. Videos, blogs, audio clips, memes, a lot of sarcastic rants from Digital Igloo on the forums, you name it. So don't be all, where's the manual? It's coming. Please be patient with us. For those in the room who want to know more, we've set up several interview rooms around the building where you can answer questions. We'll do one-on-ones, and some of you may be able to play a handful of Agora amps today. Wow, okay. Thanks to all of you who've battled LAX and the 101. If you've never done that before, I'm sorry, to come hang out with us in sunny Calabasas, California. Thank all of you who are out there in the blogosphere watching us from outside. And thank you for coming. Stay cool, everybody.
So now we know, and the key is patience. I'm going to have to wait months for mine. And just like everybody, I really want one. Matt brought one over and we did 3 presets. We did a Marshall, a Fender, and the Vox. And they all sounded great, but the Marshall was particularly otherworldly. It had the dynamics, the response, the sag. It was great. So if you get a chance, make sure you play through one of these things. You want to know more, go to line6.com. And I just want to thank you all for coming. Thanks for coming to the party. Thanks for joining the live stream. And we will see you soon. Thank you.